the Fandom Family Chats. I am your host, Maureen, and we are joined with our other hosts, Jeanette.
Hello.
And Amanda.
Hello.
And we are going over Cruel Summer episode 7 tonight. I'm pleased to say that I feel very smart because there was quite a few things that we called in earlier podcasts that we found out were true tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that doesn't happen very often.
Tell us.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys want to talk about first?
You two are the ones with the notes, so I'm going to let you start.
My first note says, Jamie wasn't let up into Kate's room on her birthday.
I didn't even notice that.
That wasn't my first note, but I did notice it.
That's funny.
On any of them.
Well, I guess that wouldn't look good. Joy wouldn't be having that. So
that's true.
Hey, my feelings on Joy are like swifting back and forth.
Oh,
I don't know what's happening here.
I don't either.
Okay.
That's bizarre.
I don't know if my feelings are shifting, but I will say this is the first episode where I felt any sort of remorse come from her. And yes. I had just a little sliver of sadness for her, but it was small, very small.
I liked seeing her a mess.
She quickly took it away.
It just, it was nice to kind of see that rawness during that part.
Where she admitted to doing the liar note.
Yeah.
See, I didn't feel bad for her there either. Because I felt like she was only sad because she got caught.
Yeah, she would have never.
No. And I did think it was interesting, and this is part of why, is because I kind of felt like this through the whole episode. She was more concerned about Kate being on TV than saying happy birthday. That annoyed the crap out of me. Which is like, her dad's like, we have a birthday present, happy birthday. And they say the show, and then on the way out, her mom says, oh, and happy birthday.
Right.
Really? She'd been missing for a year and you forget to tell her happy birthday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
woman makes
it was kind of parallel to the 95 birthday for Jeanette.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg coming in there and told her to get up, and then he was like, oh, happy birthday. So
yeah.
It really was.
But even in the 93 version for Kate, it was kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was basically saying, don't say anything that's going to upset me. Don't pick a fight today. Look pretty. Make yourself look pretty. And do what I want you to do.
Yeah.
That was it. I think her saying a happy birthday was almost robotic rather than feeling anything.
Yeah, I agree.
It did. It made me mad whenever she said that people will question you if you don't do it, since they never found anything on Jeanette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so wrong.
Absolutely. And even when they found out that girl who had from why do I always forget the name? Willow Fall. What was the name of the other town?
It's Willow Falls
Willow
or something Falls.
Yeah, maybe. Willow Creek is the name of the movie theater that used to be in the town I lived growing up. So I always think it's that.
I think it's something Falls.
I think it's Willow Falls.
It is. I have it in my notes somewhere.
But even when that came on, like you could almost see like a light bulb go off in Joy's in her head of, yeah, but you know the truth. And she was just using that as an advantage. This horrible thing that happened to not only that other girl, but Kate was just something she used as a pawn, as a tool to get her to do what she wanted her to do.
Oh, and it was Widow Falls.
Widow Falls. We were close.
That's a depressing name.
Right?
Yikes.
Is there an actual Widow Falls, Texas?
Sorry, that's not a depressing name. I love that name deeply.
Widow Falls, Texas. I'm Googling it.
The next note I have is that I'm sorry, Mallory and Kate's bond, it's too weird. It happened way too quickly. And that she says on her birthday, happy friendiversary.
Yeah, that I had a lot of, if you read my notes, I could probably actually send you guys my notes later and just for you to get a good laugh out of. Because I'm taking the notes as I'm watching the show.
That's what I do.
And so I'm and my mind doesn't process. So in the notes, it's like, I'm like, OMG. Or and I'm like talking to somebody in my notes. And I can tell when I get mad because I go all caps.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm all on my own here. I really like the Mallory Kate relationship now. Like, I want it to be real. I'm really, I don't know. I like it.
I think it's 50-50.
I don't know if I trust it yet. It's like I want to like it.
Yeah, I
but
want
I'm
it to
not
be
there.
good. I think I tweeted that. I was like, I really need Mallory to actually be good because I like this, but I'm still not sure.
Yeah.
I think that Mallory has something to do. It has something to do with the disappearance, but I think she is more of what Kate accuses Jeanette of. I think somehow she knew and she hid it. She didn't tell anybody. Somehow, some way, she inflicted more pain on Kate by whatever happened with Martin. I don't know exactly what it is yet. I think it's most likely that she did see her and didn't tell anybody. Something like that. Because I went back and I watched some of the previews from other episodes, and when she's in the therapist's office and she says, I used to really not like you. And then Kate said, I don't hear that a lot. And then Mallory, the look on her face, almost, she looks sad. And then she said, I'm starting to see why. So I think part of it was almost like, oh, she deserves what she gets. Because even remember when she said to Vince, when Jeanette changed, and she said the last thing that this crap hole, she didn't say crap hole, but the last thing this crap hole town needs is another Kate Wallace.
Yeah.
So I think she thought she deserved what she got. And so I think their friendship started out of her seeing her as she came out and feeling extreme guilt, as she should have. And every moment since, I think she likes Kate now, but I think every moment since then has been her making penance.
I would agree with that.
And
but I definitely,
I
definitely think it's a real friendship by 95. Like, I think she really cares for Kate, but I think she's still hiding something from her.
I think she's still paying penance. Absolutely. Because you look at her, and I think she's got something to do with Annabelle. I think Mallory might be Annabelle.
There's something.
So there's something in my notes about it too.
She gets really, she gets really strange when the tapes are mentioned.
She gets very strange, and she gets very like, she doesn't want Kate listening to them.
Yeah.
And it's something's connected with Mallory, Annabelle, and the tapes.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Again, and I think we've noticed it every time. Yeah.
And I think that when today or last night's, oh my gosh, Tuesday's episode, that was last night. So we're at the time of recording, that was last night. When she said, I finally found something, the look on Jeanette's face was scared. She was very scared. And then she said very nervously and very hesitantly, is it something else on Annabelle? And she was terrified while she was saying it.
On Mallory's face?
Mallory's.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that Mallory might be Annabelle, or thinks she is.
Yeah.
I think somehow she thinks that Kate's got it mixed up and she actually is Annabelle, but maybe she didn't say her name's Annabelle. Maybe that's the name Kate gave her. I don't know. But somehow I think Mallory is either Annabelle or Mallory thinks she's Annabelle to Kate. And then when they were at the roller rink and she said, I don't remember what, I think it's further down in my notes, but her face was just, I don't know. It was just, it fell when they were talking at the roller rink and she just looked so guilty. And I don't have another way to describe other than guilty.
So speaking of her time at the roller rink, okay, I don't know, does anyone else get the feeling that Mallory is like, has a crush on Kate?
Falling in love with her? Yes.
Yeah. And it made me wonder if maybe she also had a crush on Jeanette as well, which is why she took her, like leaving her is so hard, way more, than Vince did.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I mean, it's like I see it, but would the show creators really make Mallory and Vince both gay?
I know.
I think so.
I know.
I did think that originally, actually, that she was into Kate, but last night's episode made me think that she just is incredibly guilt-ridden and incredibly shame-filled over her and is desperate to make it up to her.
Yeah, and that really might be what's going on.
Maybe.
The other thing I thought about with the Annabelle thing is I'm wondering if that's why Mallory went so hard with encouraging her to smoke pot. Is because she had something to do with her disappearance. And if you forget everything, if you're stoned all the time, then it won't come out, especially when she started listening to her tapes again and she, I don't know. Yeah. I think that might be a little far-fetched, but the pot line, I feel like there's something to the getting high there. I just feel in my gut there's something there.
Well, they keep throwing it in a lot, so you could be right. I mean, it's pretty, I don't know. But then again, they're also teenagers in the 90s, so maybe it's just because you get high a lot. I don't know.
Popular.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe it's just that, but I mean, I agree that it seems to be kind of a focal point.
It is. It keeps coming back and back
with
and
those
back.
two specifically, because even Ashley says, I dabble, I've done it, I get
Yeah.
high, but they don't harp on that. They harp on the getting high with Mallory and Kate.
Although, I mean, last night we saw that the first reason that she had her do it was to give her an appetite because she said she couldn't really eat. So maybe it's just become, something like that because she has a hard time eating. So she gets high and then she's hungry and she's able to eat. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how it started. Here, if you do this, it'll make you eat. And then she's like, hey, this takes away some of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I mean, that is how it starts. I mean, that's probably how she's just coping.
Probably.
I still think Mallory's got a bad angle there. I don't know. I just don't like her.
I think I do like her, so I'm really trying to believe that she's good.
I started off liking her, but the more I see of her character, the more I feel like, nope, you're going to be a villain of some sort.
Yeah, maybe. Yep. I don't know. I'm not sure.
But were you guys a little bit shocked that Kate invited Mallory to the party? I always kind of figured that Mallory just kind of like swiggled her way into Kate's life.
Oh,
it's turned out that it's the opposite. Yeah. It's Kate reached out to Mallory.
Well, I think they probably connected at therapy more than what we see.
Probably.
That'd be true too.
So I think there's a lot of that relationship we don't see because I think it was, what was it, in July when they first met after therapy?
I think so.
And this is August 25th.
So they've probably seen each other a lot there because, I mean, it's likely your appointments are the same time every week. And so you probably run into each other every time.
Yeah.
That was another point when I think it could be chalked up to Mallory was just so uncomfortable being in that house. But again, the look on her face was sheepish, like she was guilty when she was there. And that could be chalked up to she's in Joy Wallace's house and she's really not the kind of people that ever goes to that house.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get over the expression on her face, which just didn't look good. And then also, do you think that Joy hates Mallory partly because this is another thought I have? Maybe Mallory knows that Joy's involved in somehow because I don't think Joy's exempt from that. I think Joy has got something to do. I mean, obviously we see why Kate goes over there, but I think like Mallory, Joy had something to do with how long she was kept.
Could be. Yeah. No.
This
episode changed so much for me. Yeah. I don't know. I'm so confused now. Everything I thought was true. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm right there with you. The whole thing of how it happened, seeing it now, I feel like makes Joy look more
innocent. Yeah.
Innocent.
Not innocent. I don't want to say, maybe less guilty.
Less guilty.
I don't want to call
That's
Joy
what I was trying innocent. To get out and it wasn't coming.
Yeah.
Because one of the first theories that I had about this was basically what happened, that she had an inappropriate relationship with Martin and she went over there. But I think that at some point Joy found out that that's where she went, that's why she went there. And she was like, fine, you know what? You want him so bad, you can stay there and you can be his whatever. So I think Joy had a hand in how long she stayed there.
Maybe. I wouldn't put it past her.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Especially when she said, because I have the note where she said, this is towards the end, but she said, you need a bad guy. Like, did she just admit to helping Martin? Right then is kind of how I felt.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think about that, but maybe.
I didn't think about it in that way.
I didn't either. But, I mean, who knows? That's the whole thing with this. We don't know. No one knows.
Because, I mean, the reason she was okay with her running away was because she obviously, Joy knew that Kate knew about the affair. And she was trying to punish her mentally and emotionally by saying, you know what, go ahead, go run away.
Right.
And so she was trying to punish her. And then when she found out, I mean, she has so many reasons. Joy, more than anybody else other than Martin, has so many reasons for Kate to stay hidden.
Yeah.
And maybe in her twisted way, like with the talk show, maybe she was trying to give Kate a story that could capitalize on the nation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that past her either.
No.
Well,
No.
if, you know, if she stays down there for this long, maybe if she has this victorious entrance back into society, then we can get her on all these talk shows that talk about Oprah, and she could be famous.
It crossed my mind.
Yeah.
It did. I was like, is this her wheel to fame?
Yeah.
Of
Which is
using
so
her
terrible.
daughter?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what about Rod? I mean, just the way he kind of just stood back and I mean, I know he made up for it later, but
Yeah.
I don't know. His reaction to, you know,
I think
the way she treated her was just, it surprised me, I guess.
I think that happened also though because he had just found out that Kate had accused him of having an affair as well. So he's like,
Yeah.
well, you're accusing your mom and you accused me. And
Yeah.
I think he was saying they're confused of
I just wish he would have
what was going on.
heard her out, you know, and heard what, you know, her side of the story and all of that, rather than just kind of stepping back like that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're looking at your wife and you're looking at your kid, you're going to kind of look at your husband.
Maybe. Yeah.
And be like, you know, is this a child wanting attention or is this true? So I didn't really think of him in a bad way of how he handled it. I think he was in shock.
I think too, the other reason he pulled back is because Kate even said to her mom, "You raised me to be a mindless puppet." And I think up until then, there had never been a cause for any real discipline or any discord. And even Joy had said to her, "We've never fought before." She made a point of saying that. So there's all these things where she never had to really be truly disciplined, other than your average, you know, kid being selfish. Hey, don't hit, don't whatever, as they're growing up.
Yeah.
But as she became a teenager, it was very apparent that she was a golden child almost. She did what she was told, when she was told, how she was told. They had an idyllic life on the surface. There was no cause for discord. So I think that was also the first time that there was an opportunity for Joy to actually show, I'm her mother, you're not her father.
Right.
And so I think that it was probably for Rod was like, well, maybe I shouldn't interact because I've never had to be in this position before. I've never had to do this before. So she isn't really my daughter. Am I supposed to do this? But I also think that the reason he reacted so angrily in 95 when Joy said, well, I'm her mother. And he said, well, I'm her father. If you ever implicate that again, we are not going to survive that. I think the reason he reacted so strongly is because he blames himself for Kate going. Because he didn't stand up for her, and he can tie everything. I mean, everyone can tie everything back to that one moment when her mom hit her in the face, and Rod didn't do anything. And I think Rod holds himself personally accountable to her going missing.
I would agree.
Yeah. Can we talk about Joy's nasty words?
Which ones?
Comparing Kate to herself. You know, you're just me, 23 years.
The words she used, I thought were odd.
Naive, simple, boring.
Yeah. What weird things to level at your daughter, even if you're angry.
Yeah.
Those are words that are designed to keep you a puppet.
Yeah.
Of, you need me, so what are you really going to do?
Yep. Those were, I even wrote them down because they
so
stood out.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, we knew that she said something terrible to her, but I don't know. I was still shocked by how terrible I felt, like just the way she talked to her. Like, I mean, it was, because it wasn't even just in the moment of anger, like when she hit her. I mean, like, she followed her to her room to continue to like berate her. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this poor child, you know?
Yeah. And the way she immediately, it was an immediate character assassination before anything even came out of Kate's mouth. And I feel so bad for Kate in that moment. Like, how terrible to live in that kind of environment.
I cried. I was so sad for her.
Absolutely.
Her mom, you'll come running back with your tail between your legs. I was like,
so awful.
I was just like pure disgust looking at Joy's face in that moment.
Absolutely.
I was like,
and then when she followed her up to, like, it was one face when she was trying to defend herself against Rod, or to Rod, and how her face altered so much when she was up talking to Kate in her bedroom. It was, her facial expression was so disgusting.
Yeah.
She was so smug, and she was a real abuser in that moment.
Yes.
She was gaslighting and she was emotionally and mentally abusing her, throwing things at her, whatever she could to make her stay. And the look on her face was so haughty, like, I know this is going to work because you're worthless, basically.
Yeah, that showed a lot of her character in that moment. And
I don't think she's changed. Especially since in 95, she looks at Rod and says, well, I'm her mother. And she almost punishes Rod for saying to Kate, don't discount it just because it's mom's idea. She almost is mad at Rod for that. His concern is for her, not for you. That's his daughter who just spent almost a year in captivity. She's his concern right now. She's the one who needs the help, not you. And she almost punished her husband for that. So I don't think Joy has changed at all. I think that she doesn't want to be caught. I think she wants to maintain her innocence. I think she wants to maintain a certain persona. And I think that's what she did with those tears.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're a master manipulator and a master abuser, you can pull those out of anywhere.
That's true.
Yes. Did anybody else notice before we skipped the roller skate rink, the song playing while they were skating?
Yes.
I remember.
It was Olivia Holt's song.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was it?
It was.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know she sang.
Yes.
Oh.
I didn't either until recently, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
That was her singing.
And I thought it was, and I kept listening to it, and I finally
looked it up.
I told my age, and now I whipped out Shazam. And it was like Today by Olivia Holt. I was like, that's why I know that song, because I kept thinking, I know this song. What is this?
Yeah.
But
I would never guess
fun
that.
fact. That is her song.
Her.
They're dancing to, skating
Something
to.
else about the roller rink. Okay, so it kind of goes back to Jamie, which we haven't really talked about yet, but with his promise ring.
Oh,
so did we
zoom in on the
notice
candy ring?
Yeah, well, his ring was that green, and then they had the green ring pops. And I'm like, this can't be a coincidence that they're the exact same color.
And on the exact same finger.
Which was another reason that almost led me to believe that she has a crush on Kate. I didn't know if they were making some sort of symbolism there.
Yeah, that was one of the things that popped out at me, and I was like, are they going there with this? Or I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. It definitely felt that way. You know, this episode especially, I think. For me, it felt that way.
It did. I didn't know if I was the only one getting the vibes. So I was like,
maybe not so much on Kate's part. I think Kate's is just more about just, having a friend and someone that she feels she could trust. And, but I feel like Mallory is into her. Maybe. I don't know.
I agree.
I get that Mallory. I feel like on top of her guilt, I feel like Mallory's confused.
Maybe.
I think she's got both of those going pretty strongly.
Yeah.
But speaking of the promise ring, Jamie.
I was about to bring it back to Jamie.
Oh my God.
Jamie.
That boy. When he falls, I mean, when he falls hard, right? Yes. I mean, here he is, like, ready to promise himself to her, and then Jeanette, after 6 months, he's madly in love with her. So obviously that but she made the comment about it being just him and his mom, because we were wondering about his dad. So maybe that's just him needing love too. So I don't know, maybe there's more to that.
My note actually says, Jamie, no dad at 16 months of family, explains why he falls hard. Literally just said everything that my note said one thing.
Yeah. There you go. No, but I agree. I mean, poor Jamie. I don't know. He's just such a messed up kid.
But I don't think he was actually, I don't think he ever actually fell for Kate.
I think
he fell for Jeanette.
Yeah.
But I think that he fell in love with what Kate, because even when he said, like your parents, I want to buy you a house and have a big family like your parents. I think he fell in love with the American, because he even said that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he fell in love with what the Wallaces had more than he fell in love with Kate. I think he wanted that ease. I think probably if it's a single person household, he in a nice area, I think he and his mom probably struggle a bit financially.
Probably. Yeah.
And so there's that aspect of it. They had the nice big house. I think that him wanting to buy her house is more than just wanting to have a big house, but him wanting to be able to afford to buy a house. So I think there's that level. And I think that he just fell in love with the idea of her family and with her more than he actually fell in love with her. And I think that's why he was able to go with Jeanette so easily. But I think Jeanette, he connected with more.
Yeah. Well, and I think you can see this I noticed, okay, so when he gave Kate the promise ring, like I watched Ben's face in that scene, and he's almost like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Kind of
even see his face.
if you like, on the second time I watched it, I decided to watch him. So this is why rewatches are fun, because you can catch different stuff. But he's almost like looking at him like, oh, dude, what are you doing? Whereas like when he talks to him about Jeanette, I feel like it's a totally different vibe. Like I think he sees that like Jamie is better with Jeanette than he was with Kate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because even with like Jeanette, like on her birthday, he took her to the roller rink. They hung out with friends. They did nice things. On Kate's birthday, they went out to Mall and he got drunk from a flask.
Yeah.
So I mean, that right there kind of tells you that Jeanette is, because Jeanette has more of a connection to him, I think. And he has more of a connection to her. So I think his desire for a big family has got him in some bad spots. And then I think there might be something with him hitting Jeanette. I wonder if there was something with his dad that had to do with abandonment or deceit or something along the same lines of what he perceived Jeanette doing. And I'm not excusing it at all, because I think that was
it's terrible.
Move. I think that was a terrible thing for him to do. I can't believe I just said that word on this podcast. But I think that his reaction was so strong because he just felt left. And I think that's why his reaction was so strong with Kate too, in the car, when he freaked out when she said we're over, because he can't stop losing people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So even that episode where it was like, oh, I don't feel bad for Jamie anymore. Like, I didn't have the same reaction to everybody else. I still liked Jamie.
Well, I like him again.
Yeah.
So
this episode brought me back.
Yeah. I think I said that too, like when I was live tweeting. Like,
you did.
I mean, just the actor, he's so freaking adorable that it's just really hard to not like him. So he's won me back over.
That's why in our Facebook group, when we ask these people, who's your favorite character? Most of the time, like, I don't know.
Right? I mean, it depends on what episode I just watched. You know? You know what? No, Derek. Derek is my favorite character. He's been my favorite. That's from day constant. One. Still my favorite.
He's my top.
Definitely.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to see Jeanette at least once in this episode.
I know. I always miss it. I don't know.
Like, they showed her face. I was like, oh, I kind of missed her.
Do you notice how her hair looked more kept?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's trying to get her. Yeah.
She's trying to.
That was her dad and Vince. She's coming back because it was right after the episode where they hung out with her and they showed her attention and affection, and not that she was a leper, but that she was wanted. And so when you let someone know that they're wanted and they're valuable, you're going to start to feel wanted and valuable, and you're going to want to present that you're wanted and valuable.
Yep.
I think that's all that was missing for her, because when Kate said all those horrible things, everybody, and she says that in one of the trailers. Oh my gosh, that trailer that someone posted in our group. I have so many questions. It was last week.
Oh, yes.
It was like right after, not last night's episode, but it was after the episode 6.
Yes.
So right before this episode, they posted that trailer, and we see where Jeanette and Kate had that confrontation. You didn't see that?
Maybe I didn't.
Where Kate walked up to her and she said, "You stole my life." Or no, Jeanette said, do you even realize that you ruined my entire life? And Kate said, well, you stole mine. Like,
I don't think I saw that.
And Jeanette said, you didn't even want it, which is my note. Yeah.
Yes.
That's my note about Martin, is that, and that has to do with Jamie too, because Kate, she didn't want to be with Jamie. I mean, that was evident when he gave her the ring. It was evident when she was walking around with him. It was just so evident that she didn't want to be with him. And that could partially have to do with Martin, because on Jeanette's birthday, they were all loved up. And then 2 days later, she met Martin. So it probably has something to do with how she's starting to feel for Martin. But still, she did not want Jamie when she was taken. She did not want him. So her desire to punish Jeanette for taking her life, it feels more like a desperate grab at who she was. She doesn't actually want it, but she feels almost like she needs it. So she's punishing Jeanette for taking what she needed, or what she feels she needs, is what I think it is. So I still think that Kate is punishing Jeanette more than being truthful about Jeanette. I think she blames Jeanette. I think she has a lot of wrong assumptions about Jeanette that are based purely on opinion rather than fact. And I think she's genuinely trying to punish her and bring her down, because she thinks she wronged her by being who she was in Kate's absence.
Yeah.
But I think Kate knows that Jeanette didn't actually have anything to do with it.
And I wonder now if Martin told her more stuff, because we saw him tell her that, like, Jeanette's with Jamie now, like, no one's looking for you. So I wonder if we're going to see that he maybe fed her other information that wasn't true at all.
I'm sure he did.
You heard her tell, kind of I don't want to say defending him, but
she was defending him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Martin told me about her, and that girl's lying, and
it's probably a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, even without, kind of residual effects of
especially
that.
Because she went there willingly because she had feelings for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like she was just taken against her will. I mean, eventually she was,
right?
But she went there because she had feelings for him, and it's probably hard for her to separate because she's with that kind of trauma. You really want to block out the trauma and keep everything else,
right?
So that stuff was probably said to her before the trauma happened, and so she's been able to separate them completely. Because that was my note, is with everything that Martin did to her, how is she still able to believe what he says? But I think that's why. Because I think that was said to her before the trauma happened, before he was kidnapped her and kept her in a basement. He told her all these things about this other girl, maybe as a warning that, hey, this might come up, but this is really what happened, because maybe there was already some litigation pending against him.
Yeah.
And then after the trauma, he didn't mention that girl again. It didn't come up again. So she still associates that with the truthful version of it.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
But that was a weird reaction of how and that's kind of classic abuser syndrome too, of when you have been abused, but you don't think someone else has been abused as much as you. It's no, they should feel bad for me, not for her, because they didn't experience what I did. And you could see that come out in her. And I didn't think that was a trait that was like, oh wow, Kate's pretty nasty. I think that just made me more sad for Kate.
Oh yeah.
It shows you how much she actually endured.
Yeah.
Did anybody else think that he was just going to kidnap her when he was driving her home after peeing in his bushes?
Mm-mm.
I did.
I didn't think so.
Oh my gosh, is this it? Does he just take her home against?
I did think, talking about peeing in the bushes, did Kate lead Jamie to that house on purpose to stop there?
I'm confused of how they got there.
Well,
they had to walk because he was too drunk. So they did have to walk past Martin's house to get there. And I just trying to get him off the lawn before Martin came out.
I don't know. I just wondered if she didn't purposely want to see Martin.
She could have.
It just seemed like of all the yards to stop in, I wondered if that was a little bit of her doing somehow.
Yeah. But with the car ride home, I think that Martin seemed surprised by the handhold.
Yeah.
So I don't think that his intent was always to abduct her. I don't think he always wanted to take her. I think that he was certainly infatuated, obviously wrongly so. But I think that he was attracted to her. I think that he wanted her, but I think that he was trying to fight it. And I mean, that's still super creepy, and it's still really not okay and wrong. But I don't think he always intended to abduct her.
Yeah, I'm just sitting in his house.
Yeah,
with those pictures of her. I was like, ugh.
Because you could tell that when she held his hand, when she grabbed his hand in the car, he looked surprised by it.
Yeah,
and he just kind of stared at it for a minute. And I think part of it was because we had talked about how he was Gideon before, right? I think that he still had that mentality, and I think that's part of why he was so infatuated with Kate specifically, was because Kate was every girl who ever rejected him. Kate was the pretty and popular girl who had always rejected him when he was growing up, and so that was part of his infatuation with her. She was beautiful, but she was nice to him. So it's almost like he was reverting back to, and of course this is unprovable, this is just a theory I have, but it feels like he was just like, oh, the pretty popular, she likes me. Of all these people, she likes me. And so I think in his insanely creepy, wrong mindset that he started to get infatuated with her because of that. And then once the relationship started, I really do think he really started to freak out, because he's not physically abusing her when she's in the basement. So what is his goal there? What is his end game there? Other than, hey, we had this relationship. I had no choice but to lock you up because you wanted to end it. You were going to tell people I had to lock you up. So can we just be comfortable with this as your life now? No one's looking for you anyway. Jamie's already moved on. Let's just live like this.
Yeah.
Which is so twisted.
I did have something in my notes about it. I was a little bit, I guess, confused, and I might be thinking of it wrong going back. But whenever, and I don't know what episode it was, when she's looking around and the whole room is stocked full.
Yeah.
Of everything she needs. But then on the chat and the messaging, she's like, he held food over me and I can't. That's why
she said he controlled me with food. He was putting stuff in her food.
He controlled me with food. That's what it was. But I thought she had like food all in that room
Mm-mm.
with her. Was it
She
just
had
like
granola bar? That's what he said. You can't survive on granola bars and water. That's what
okay?
he
Is
had
that all
stocked
what
on.
it was?
Like, yeah, non-perishables he stocked on there, but he would make her actual food that had drugs in it, I think.
Mm.
Or maybe
Yeah.
because that's what I felt then, because after she ate that grilled cheese, she like went hazy and weird.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
thought originally he was putting drugs in it, but then maybe it was
Yeah.
like a reward system eventually. But
That's
in this
what I
episode,
thought.
when she was eating it, he said, I wanted to use, how did he word it? Jeanette, you probably know, but I only watched it once. When he said something about how I was thinking about how you said I was a creep for doing this. The one
Yeah.
who clothes you, the one who
Feeds you,
and then he stops.
It was just more of, I think he probably just kind of drilled that into her head that, he was the one there taking care of her, and that was sort of controlling with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we know that
Ugh.
she was there for a few days, because when she first runs out, she's in a red dress. Right?
Mhm.
When she first goes up the steps. In the preview for next week, we see her opening the basement door curiously, and she's in the dress she went there with.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if the red.
Do you remember her pulling a red dress off of her closet hanger when she was packing to leave? I was trying to remember if she did that.
I didn't see one. I bet a red dress. I bet it's something pretty he buys her to wear.
Oh yeah, could be.
So creepy. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder if it's, maybe it's Christmas time, or, I don't know. That's just what I thought, that he bought her something pretty to wear.
Well, that's
So
right. You
creepy.
southern states don't have snow in winter and stuff like that all the time.
Oh yeah, no, we don't have snow till like February.
I forget that it's Texas. Oh no, that's in August.
But I mean, like later on, because we don't know when that is. I mean, like,
Yeah.
we haven't seen. That's
We
after
never
she's
know when he
obviously
gets her
been
the
there.
dress.
What?
We never know when if and when he ever gives her the dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
I think we're all going to go back and look to see what she pulls from her closet now.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even think about that.
I think I need to rewatch the first episode. I think
I kind of want to rewatch them all at once.
I think
we should, because they said there was an interview. I think it was an interview, because I got stuck in a rabbit hole of trailers and new things about it on YouTube today, and I just couldn't stop watching all these new things. And so there was a couple interviews. I don't remember which one it was on. I think it was one with Jessica Biel. How do you pronounce Jeanette's name? Her real name? Kiara?
I'm not sure.
Kyra? No, I think it's Kyra. Something like that. But they're talking to Jimmy Fallon, and I think it was that interview, and they said everything, because Jessica Biel, yeah, that's what it was, because Jessica Biel was talking about how she kept everything from the actors as they were filming. She kept from episode to episode, she kept everything from them for what was actually happening.
Wow.
And she said that it's in the last 2 episodes is when you start to know everything.
Oh, so we've only got one more until we start knowing stuff.
So I think that like after episode 8, I think we should like watch it all the way through again.
Yeah.
And then come up with our theories before episode 9 comes out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing about Mallory, I just found this note where she says, this is what it was at the roller rink. She said, "I don't know how I'd be standing without you, Mal." And that's when Mal just looks devastated. So that was it. And so she looks suspiciously guilty. And I think that it started as a penance from that too. But I just want to throw it out there because I was looking for that earlier and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that, but I remember noticing her face on that moment too.
They zoom in on it for a minute and she just looks really, really sad. And guilty. And evil. And like a villain.
I know. I hope not.
I think that would be the best thing. If she was the one who was Annabelle, I think that would surprise everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm still so torn on the Annabelle thing. I don't know what to think.
I don't either.
Well, when does she talk about Annabelle? Well, because she talks about Annabelle the first time when she meets Mallory, right? And the tape she's listening to on her birthday, the therapist asks, "Do you want to go back to Annabelle?"
Yeah.
And then Kate has a panic attack and says, "I can't continue. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to stop."
Yeah.
I wonder if that's because she was starting to be close with Mallory and Mallory had started to make her feel better. That was her saying, "No, I can't do this. I can't do this."
She's blocking it now. Like she's like, absolutely. "Who's Annabelle? Like, why can't I remember any of this?"
Yeah.
Something's blocked.
And she connected with Mallory in that month after she had said, that was the day I met Annabelle. And then a month later is when she got the tape, or was saying on the tape that, at least according to last night's episode, on the tape, she was saying, "I can't talk about who Annabelle is. I don't remember. I can't talk about it."
But I just wonder, like, she barely knew Mallory, like, prior to this. So I'm not sure her being Annabelle would cause her to block it. Like, I'm not sure that it would be tragic enough for her to block it out.
Maybe
like,
that's
I feel like
because she didn't know Mallory. You're right. She didn't know her. Maybe Mallory introduced herself as Annabelle. Hi, I'm Annabelle. I'm going to get you out of here. We know that Mallory wasn't above doing things illegal. We know she wasn't above lying.
Yeah.
Was she behind the mirrors?
Maybe she helped lure people in for Martin. I don't believe that, but I don't like Mallory. I want this video to end with Jeanette saying, you're right. Mallory's a bad person.
I'm not there yet. Like
no.
You guys, if I'm right, I'm going to be crowing about this for weeks and weeks and weeks.
I know. We'll have to hear about it. I don't think so.
But
I mean, I'm not saying.
Even Vince notices it, though. Even Vince calls her out on it.
Yeah.
About how weird it is. And he says, even he sees the cracks in her new friendship. And Mallory ends up doing to him exactly what she accused Jeanette of doing to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even when she tries to call Vince on it, you have other friends, even Jeanette. And Vince says, whoa, I've always been friends with Jeanette. But you and Kate is bizarre, out of this world crazy.
Yeah.
So I side with Vince. You don't like Vince, guys? You don't want to believe Vince?
I believe Vince. I like everyone except for Joy Wallace. I mean, that's really the only person that I don't like.
You like Martin Harris? Jeanette.
Oh, well, no.
We don't did that one episode. As a character.
Yeah, no.
Do you remember way back when the show first started? We're like, oh, Martin's cute. He's gay.
Well, I mean,
oh, Jesus.
They had us fooled. I really thought he was going to be okay. Oh, no. Wrong. I do not feel that anymore. He's creepy. I don't care for him at all.
Wrong.
No.
So weird. So weird.
Also,
but everybody else I like.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying everybody else I like. Just no Martin, no Joy.
Did anyone else notice too that oh my gosh, that scene when they were watching the movie with Kate and Mallory and Ashley, that broke my heart when Kate reacted. Like, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. But the trauma that must have produced in Kate was so horrifying. And Joy came in after the movie had been turned off, after they had all changed positions, after Ashley's opening the curtains, and which, by the way, I would like the show, if you're listening, Jessica Biel, please put a link to where you bought those blackout curtains, because those curtains are freaking awesome. Like, right? I thought it was nice.
Me too.
I did too.
I was like, goodness gracious. Yeah.
Because I was like $3,000 curtains.
I was like, why is it light outside again? I was so confused.
But it's after all of that that Joy comes in and says, I heard screaming. When? A half hour ago?
Right.
You obviously live in a big house. Maybe it takes her a while to.
She was over in the West Wing.
She was on the 8th floor, West Wing, North Side.
She was probably doing something, so she finished up what she was doing, and then she just leisurely walked over there.
that I believe. I'll stand with that one.
I had a random thought though. It was good. Okay, like, I mean, I get that, her trauma. Why did that scare her so much? But she was able to watch Silence of the Lambs.
Because I don't think Silence of the Lambs is what she experienced.
Well, I mean, being locked. I mean, the girl's like locked down in a hole. I mean, it's kind of similar to being locked down in the basement. I don't know.
But she had. I think that really it had more to do with, and here's
so funny
because I was going over my head about that too. I had the same question. I didn't think about Silence of the Lambs, but just why that freaked her out. And I imagine that at some point she had either, because what she's envisioning right there is Martin chasing her up the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way they cut it, it could be the scene where she's at the top of the stairs and it's locked. She can't get out. She's just resigned. But if that's the case, why would Martin be chasing her?
Right.
If it was locked, he would not be chasing her up the stairs. There's nobody else he lives with in that massive house.
Yeah.
So maybe she almost escaped one time. And
she either almost escaped or before she was originally put down there. I think she was trying to outrun him and he grabbed her and threw her down there. And that could be why he kept her down there, because she saw what he was like truly, and she tried to escape it, and he grabbed her before she could get away because she wasn't fast enough, and then he shoved her in the basement.
Yeah.
So I think that was just too much like her situation. And Silence of the Lambs the guy was more overtly like, I haven't ever watched it because it creeped me out so bad. I've only seen bits.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I'm not
she
a
puts the
horror movie
lotion. What is it? She puts the lotion on her skin.
I think Anthony Hopkins' characters is much overtly like okay, there's something wrong with you, man.
Yeah,
There is with Martin Harris.
He gets into his character.
Yeah.
Sir Anthony Hopkins is a great actor.
Yes, he is. If you would like to come on the podcast, that would be fine with me.
Right? Nothing to do with any of our shows, but we'll interview you.
Sure, he can analyze Martin Harris's character. He can get into
Absolutely.
why he's so insane.
Absolutely.
We one time compared your character that you did, I don't know, 30 years ago.
To be fair, Jessica Biel did that. We just
right.
Yeah,
exactly. Blame it on her. We love you too, Jessica Biel.
Yes. Please come on our show because we have questions for you.
So many questions.
So my other question about Jamie and Kate is why were they even together?
Because they were the popular kids. I mean, they're prom king and queen material. So I think that's just how it goes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that there was nothing about them together. And it's crazy how much her finding, I wonder what exactly it was she found in Martin that caused her to realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't until after that garden party that she started to not like Jamie. That she started to almost be repulsed by him.
I think it's just the typical, here he is,
adult guy paying her attention.
Adult, but still young, and he's handsome and seems sort of sophisticated, so I mean, I can see where a young girl would develop a crush. I mean, I had a crush on a biology teacher in high school, because he was kind of the same time,
Me too. It was a biology teacher in my high school.
That's crazy.
I did not have a crush on my biology teacher.
I remember I took anatomy just because he was the teacher, and then he left that year, so I was stuck with somebody else dissecting like rabbits and stuff that I did not want to do. It was a mess.
You want to call his name out? Go ahead.
I don't care. It was Mr. Mefford. That was his name.
There you go, Mr. Mefford. If you're watching this, you ruined Jeanette's high school science.
I'm like, I know. Had to take anatomy. It was awful.
I do want to give us we went over it earlier, but we didn't actually say it. We got the liar note right.
Yes, that's my very next note is Joy wrote the note. I knew it.
Maureen got that one.
I am so proud of that win.
Yeah, you got that one. What we got, there were other ones we got too. We knew that
we got Martin right.
There. We did.
At least
and we also, I mean, we think that I remember that a bunch of us, I know I said it, I think a lot of people said that we thought that Derek was going to be the one to sort of.
We were all team Derek and Ashley. And technically we were right on Ashley too, because Ashley is uncovering all this stuff.
Yes.
So you had said, I read this right before I came on here. Did you post? Oh, it's fine. This is going to post later. The question that's going to show up tomorrow in our Turner family group.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
About, do you think Ashley's going to be mad that he looked at it? I had that thought because he said, can I check my email? And he did check his email. It's not his fault that he saw his sister's name and Mr. Harris's name and all that blazoned over there. Right. So I actually, the note I was about to write was, ooh, Ashley's going to be mad when she comes out and finds a witness. But then what I actually wrote down is Derek has got to be pissed.
I can see where she'll be upset because it is an invasion of her privacy. But at the same time, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
So
because that wasn't Derek's intent. Derek's intent, he just saw his sister's name and Martin Harris's name. He's like, what is this?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think too, Ashley, I mean, I think she would have eventually done the right thing with this information. I think she was just still trying to gather
research.
It. And I think it was more of she probably wanted to be able to come to Kate and get Kate to admit all of this and so that she could right her wrongs. So it may, she may be mad now because this is going to, totally discredit Kate and her whole thing. And that's going to, end up hurting her. So it's definitely going to cause problems, I think.
Was it in our group or was it on the show? Because now that I'm thinking about it, I can't remember seeing it on the show, but they said sisters aren't the same thing as therapists. Was that in what happened last week? Was that in the show?
Yes. Yeah, that was in the show.
Because I think that's what Ashley was doing too. I think she was playing therapist with Kate. I think she saw how damaged Kate was. And I think that she was almost like therapy rules that what you say to me stays with me.
Yeah.
So I just tell me all your problems and I'll help you through it. And I'll give you the tools you need. I think that's how it started. But I think eventually if Kate would have told her all the ways that she's lying about Jeanette, I think Ashley would have been like, okay, you're destroying this girl. And she didn't do anything that you're saying she did. I think eventually it would have gotten to that point, but I think she's going to be mad when she finds out Derek did this because she's not to that point yet. I think she's still to the point of, my sister needed that and you're going to use it against her.
Yeah. But
in
I'm
the same way,
totally.
Derek has the same thing. My sister needed that and you were torturing her without giving it to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was.
So I think that's the end of Derek and Ashley.
On board.
I want to know what it says though.
Because I was so excited when they first popped up. I was like, ooh, I was like, I'm here for this. I love it. And then I was like, oh, this ruins it.
My first note about them together was, man, that's a nice dorm room. My dorm room didn't look like that.
I mean, she's got a shower in there.
I mean, to be fair, we did too, but I had to share it with 3 other people.
That's my point. Yeah. If you happen to be lucky enough to have the dorm room that has the shower adjoining, you've got like suite mates. And not me. Mine, I had to walk down the hallway to like a community shower, and I still had a roommate in my room. So yeah.
And she has very nice sheets.
Yes.
Her daddy probably bought
she
those.
She has a really nice painting behind her too.
Yeah. I was confused though, because Derek was like, I don't know. What did he say? He's like, these sheets are nice in a dorm room. And I'm thinking, well, it's because you bring your sheets from home. I mean, it's not like you get sheets by the dorm. I mean, I wouldn't want. I don't know. That was funny.
Well, I think that was kind of his point, is pointing out the differences between their families.
Yeah. I think it was just I got crappy sheets, you got nice sheets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just making that point that they're from 2 different
worlds,
classes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Amanda, you said you wanted to know what the conversation said. Do you think there was more than what we've already learned in there?
I think so.
Because now I'm curious.
I think so, just because I don't know if she would have flipped out that much. I feel like there's more.
They seemed shocked. I mean, I know that you would be shocked that she went to Martin willingly, and I think that's shocking, but I feel like there's more. And they didn't show us.
I just feel like there's something there.
Yeah, I think. Mm-hmm.
And there might not be.
Well, the preview for next week, she has to give a press conference of, it was in one of them, but not in the one that I saw today. But one I had seen before this, it said something about how there are some things I haven't been completely truthful about or something like that. Mm-hmm. But then in the one I saw today, it was, there is one other thing that I'm 100% certain on. Yeah, but you were 100% certain on something else too, and it wasn't true. So, I mean,
yeah.
I think that her going there willingly, I think the reason it shocked them so much was, and I think the mindset is, so she was never kidnapped.
Yeah.
And she's just pinning this on me. She was never kidnapped. I think that was what it was. But I think that if you notice what Derek gave her, he didn't, that was you look at him.
It was a lot.
That was a lot. And he only gave Jeanette like 1 or 2 papers.
Yeah.
Didn't he, or did he give her more? Was it just
no, it looked like a whole notebook almost to me. I thought it was a lot of
notes.
Maybe I'm just thinking of the preview for next week when she handed it to her lawyer. It was only 1 or 2 sheets.
Like a novel is what he handed her.
Maybe maybe Jeanette did not give the lawyer all.
That's what I think. Yeah. Because I don't think Jeanette, I think she wants her to make it right with her because she tortured her life. But even all that, I don't think Jeanette hates Kate necessarily. I think she hates what Kate has done to her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even when you see her, when Kate is first found, she's still trying to make things right with Kate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that she feels for Kate more than anything else. And I think that Jeanette is coming out of her self-hate enough because of Vince and her dad that she only wants to get herself out of this hole. And that's all she's concerned about. I don't think she's concerned about making Kate be out to be worse, because I think if everyone knows Jeanette's innocent, then that's going to shed Kate in enough bad light. She doesn't need to do any more than that.
Yeah.
I think so.
And I hate it too, though, because it is going to discredit Kate. And we know that she's been through so much. Like, I hate that it's going to, kind of ruin it all. But I should have been honest in the beginning. And I think it would have still been okay,
I do think that we're going to find, I feel bad for Kate, but I think that watching what she did to Jeanette, knowing that what she was doing to Jeanette was not warranted, it was not right, it was not accurate in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
I'm going to lose a lot of sympathy for her. I'm not going to lose my sadness for what she went through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lose, that girl was abused. No matter how you look at it, she was abused.
Yeah.
Even if he didn't physically lay hands on her, being kidnapped in a basement, mentally tortured is abuse.
Yeah, definitely.
But she still came out and destroyed somebody else because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost spitefully.
Yeah.
And so I think part of her stuff needs to be discredited. Not all of it, but I think that she does need to be discredited a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that they need to examine every aspect, because it's clear he kept her. So what they need to do is cops need to do their flipping job instead of make Derek do it, and investigate every aspect of her story. Not just be like, with any victim, I mean, you have to look at everything. You can't just say, oh, the guy's dead, so okay, believe everything she says now.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah.
That's not doing your job.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what needs to happen is the police need to do their actual jobs and figure out exactly what happened so the right people can be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing anything now.
Yeah.
They got Martin. They're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still don't think the police killed Martin either.
I don't either. I don't either.
I wonder if Mallory did.
You know, that's not too crazy of a theory. I don't know.
I mean, if
I
we're
don't think
going
it was
with
the
if I'm
Annabelle.
going with she's Annabelle,
Yeah.
and she met Annabelle the day that Martin was gone. I mean, she could have introduced herself as Annabelle, took care of Martin, and then called the police afterwards saying, you know, this is where this girl is.
Mm-hmm.
And the police could have just taken all the credit because I don't know, everyone in that town seems completely insane.
I'm still convinced that gunshot we heard was Martin
Yeah,
the night before.
I agree.
And I still think I still stand by the fact that Jamie reacted weird to it and that there's something
Like
else there. Mm-hmm. Like he knew what it actually was.
But there's something to
know.
Ben there too. For how he holds, because he doesn't blame Jeanette necessarily. He holds her responsible for what happened to him. That doesn't mean that Jeanette did anything to him. Just means that what others did to him was the result of something Jeanette did or said.
Yeah. And I think it's going to come back to him like defending Jeanette for some reason. Because I don't think she outed him because I don't think she would do that. I don't even think she would do it accidentally. But I think maybe in some way his relationship with Vince caused him to defend Jeanette in some way, and that got him ostracized, and who knows what else happened. You know, I mean,
but
I think him
Vince
standing
was
up
too.
Yeah, but Ben had a lot. I mean, just talking about him being the football star, he may have had a whole lot more to lose.
I suppose if you look at her dad and how her dad blamed her.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe he could have lost scholarships, or you know, his whole life could have imploded because he was on her side. You know.
But I mean, the other thing too is that Ben he was talking about all the scholarships he was getting. You have to know that he was getting scholarships from outside that town. The reason that Greg's life was destroyed is because he's in that town. Everything he has is in that town. His career's in that town. His family's in that town. Yeah. Ben would have had opportunities outside of that town.
Well, what if he gets cut from the football team, like senior year, and then or something like that happens, and then all of his scholarships fall through.
I don't know why the Turners stayed.
I don't either.
In that town. He lost his job. The mom moved. Derek's in college.
Right. And you could be a realtor anywhere. I mean, it's not like you have to be there. I don't know. I don't understand it either.
I guess if she's not there, there's no show, but
and I guess maybe financially it would have been hard to especially since they don't seem like one that has, I don't know, maybe it would have been hard financially to just have to move somewhere or something. I don't know, but
could be.
But I think too, when things really started to fall was when the lawsuit was happening.
Yeah.
And if they left, then the lawsuit wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that drained their accounts pretty well.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I wonder how they're paying that lawyer. And she says which one? We've only ever seen the one.
Yeah, that's true.
So what did she have all the lawyers for if she said which one, if there's only one lawyer that we've ever seen?
I don't know.
I think there's more. I think she's just her main.
It's another
she's
resident issue. Run the resident with Billy's son. Oh, she's just a camera crew guy.
Right.
All the other lawyers are just off screen. We can't pay your name to have any lines. We're just gonna make references to you, but you're never gonna appear.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was trying to think if we'd even seen one in a room, like when they've been deposing, but it's just been Kate's lawyer and then her. Yeah.
There was one time when we saw her
by her in one of the courtroom scenes.
It was in episode 2 or 3 when she went into the lawyer's office and she said, "We need you to be more likable." And she turned to her partner. Her partner was sitting next to her. Okay. And then in the future trailers, it shows her sitting at the bench with 2 lawyers, at least 2, because it's just see Jeanette and then 2 shoulders next to her. You don't really see beyond that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you usually have a counsel team,
yeah.
With cases like, I think hers, which are big.
Yeah.
It's a lot of media. It's a lot of news. it's a big story. There would not be one lawyer.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the main lawyer. I think that's the one who deals with Jeanette.
Mm-hmm.
But I think,
and I mean, she was a hardcore cheerleader, so she's got the guts to do it all.
She is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that movie today, weren't we?
We were.
Every time I see her, I think of that.
And me learning about Kirsten Dunst being married to Jesse.
Yes.
No, I was going through my notes. I think we covered.
There's one more thing I want to talk about. Is that, and it's such an obvious thing, but I just want to make a point of mentioning it, that the whole reason she went to Martin's in the first place was because her mom said, I know exactly what you're going to do. I can call your every move. You're going to go to Tennille or Renee's house. Go ahead, go on.
Yeah.
That's the reason she went to Martin's, is because it was the one place her mom didn't mention.
Yeah, and she didn't want to be found.
Yeah.
She said, I don't want to be found.
And I think, that's right. When she said that, that made me think, was Martin naive enough to think that she was asking him to kidnap her? I mean,
he's crazy.
Maybe he has a mental issue where he's, you know what I mean? Like maybe he's got a mental deficiency where he actually takes things like that. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I watched a lot of Criminal Minds. I think that is very plausible.
Well, I mean, she's definitely giving him, and I don't want this to sound like I'm blaming her or anything, because I'm definitely not. But I mean, by her touching his hand and stuff, I mean, she's definitely giving off vibes that he could definitely be confusing.
Yes. Well, I think she wanted the relationship she got, but I think that he started to show his crazy.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh wait, I can't have this."
Yeah.
Yeah. She started seeing the real him, and then she just put it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So before we head off, I do want to talk about that ring a little bit more. What do we think the significance of it was? Now, you weren't convinced, or was that, Amanda, did you say that's why you thought that she had feelings for Melody?
That's what
said. Mallory.
Yeah, that's what I said, that I think it was just kind of comparing those two scenes to show that Mallory has feelings for her, just like Jamie did too.
Yeah, because Jamie gave her the green stone ring, and then Mallory gave her the big ring
pop.
Lollipop.
Ring
pop. There was I don't know if it's, I think the show throws things in that has nothing to do with anything, and
just
then
to see us make up crazy theories,
go insane about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what does the green ring have to do? And I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, it has to do with something. What is it? And I came up with nothing.
I mean, because it's got, I mean, why green? I mean, it's just such a...
Well, it's an emerald. It's a royal thing. It's a royal color. That's actually pretty popular in a promise ring.
It's not her birthstone, because her birthday's in August. So,
I feel like in the 90s, like emerald was a really popular color. That and ruby.
Maybe. And then, the green ring pops. I mean, usually ring pops, you see the red ones. So I feel like bringing in the green had to be a significance of some sort.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think that was definitely on purpose. I just can't think of a reason, unless it's a romantic connection. I just cannot think of another reason.
See, I think that has more to do with Jamie than it does with Mallory.
Maybe.
Unless they're saying this is the reason that Mallory did what she did to Jeanette. Because I think that this whole show, the point is to solve a mystery. The point is to figure out, it's a whodunit, basically. It's a mystery thriller. So I think to have that ring only signify that Mallory has feelings for Kate wouldn't be the right message, because that's just giving us new information. It's not trying to figure out old information. So I think there has to be something different to it. And I think that if you compare it to the scene in the mall where Jamie, oh my gosh, drunk Jamie is so sad and pathetic. When he's like, so what's your favorite gift for this year?
Oh gosh.
The painting that my dad, also the painting that her dad gave her was basically the story of what Martin was about to do to her later in the week. Like,
yes.
Oh, now that one I don't think was something we need to think about. I think that was just like
clear. Yeah.
Look at.
Yeah.
But that Jamie was so upset that she did not say his ring was her favorite. And she's like, oh, I thought you meant second after this one. And then he was then he said, well, I want the dream, the house, the kids, your parents' house, whatever. I think it had more to do with that than it did with Mallory. I think that maybe it was kind of demonstrating that because she didn't want that ring. She didn't want that light, but she took it because she felt like she had to. Yeah. And maybe Mallory giving that to her is also her saying that, I don't know that I want what I have, but I'm going to take it because I can't figure anything out. And I'm just going to take what's given to me, what's expected for me to take. But it's a different kind of expectation there with Mallory because she's not expecting Kate to be a puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was, oh my gosh.
That wasn't my fault that time.
No. Things are just.
And they go easy on the water.
Right?
She really is drinking water. Just in case you're curious.
Out of a wine.
I don't know what's going on with my mind.
All right. So let's go over what we got right and what we think is going to happen. We were right about Joy writing the note. We were right about Martin telling Kate information about the outside world. We were right about her going there voluntarily.
Yes.
Were we right about anything else?
We were right about Derek being the one that will probably bring the information.
And Ashley.
And Ashley.
Ashley too. Yeah.
Yep. I'm pretty
proud. That's
a pretty high number to get right on this show.
We're doing good.
We're pretty super smart.
Very well.
Yeah, we are doing very well. So I think my theories differ from your guys's. I think Mallory is Annabelle. I don't think it's Joy anymore. I think Mallory's Annabelle, but I think Joy knew where Kate was and chose to help Martin keep her there to teach her a lesson and to punish her a bit, and also to get a big story out of it when she came out. I'm now confused about who shot Martin, but I don't think it was the cops. I thought maybe Mallory, but now I'm thinking Ben is involved in it somehow because Jamie knew.
I think Ben and Jamie somehow.
Yeah. And then Mallory, I think she's Annabelle. I think that she has been trying to make up to Kate Wallace ever since then. And I think that that's why the relationship is so weird, so fast, so devoted.
I fully agree with you, except the Joy part.
What Joy part?
Yeah.
You think she's Annabelle?
I don't know if Joy has anything to do with it.
Oh.
Except her just feeling guilty that Kate ran away.
I'm with you now, Amanda. I mean, last week I was convinced that
it's the decorating the house thing and all the going on in life is normal thing that makes me think.
I think that was guilt.
But I don't think she's involved anymore.
Or maybe she still just ran away.
Maybe. And I don't think that Mallory is Annabelle. I think that maybe Mallory somehow did see Kate in the house, which is where the guilt is coming from. I agree on the fact that the friendship started from guilt. I think I'm back to Annabelle being a split personality. I just can't decide whose personality it is.
Yeah, that thought has never.
I'm leaning towards Kate's,
my mind,
but I'm not positive.
I think if it's anybody's, I think it would be hers.
I agree with that. If it is anybody's, I think it would be a split personality.
Yeah.
If it is somebody's, I think it would be hers. She can't remember. I think if it was his personality, I think she could remember that. But I think if it's hers, she might be able to actually block that out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so
I agree.
Thank you, Jessica Biel.
All of my theories will change next week, though. So
mine have been pretty constant, except for the Mallory one. Well, just the Annabelle thing. No, Mallory gets too weird about Annabelle. She gets too weird.
Yeah. She gets weird about she's hiding something. She gets weird about the tapes, which is why I think that she's somehow involved in, like, she saw her in the house or something. I don't know.
But go back and watch this episode when she talks about the tapes and Mallory says, "Did you find anything else on Annabelle?" And that's like how she says it. Like, she's nervous that she found out more on Annabelle.
Yeah.
So. She's waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Because she's Annabelle. And I think that because Mallory didn't know Kate very well, or Kate didn't know Mallory rather, I don't think she knew anything about her. I don't really think she knew what she looked like. I think that they saw each other. Mallory left the necklace so Jeanette could be blamed because she was mad at Jeanette. But then I think the guilt consumed her and she went back to the house and said, "Hi, I'm Annabelle," and then unlocked it, whatever, called the cops and said, "This is where she's at."
Yeah. Kate knew who Jeanette was before she knew her.
But because she knew who her mother was.
Maybe.
Her mom had a relationship with Cindy. Remember, that's the other theory that we have going on, is that we think that Cindy and Joy and Tanya had some sort of click. That's still hard. Had some sort of click in high school, and that Jeanette was ousted from, or Cindy was ousted from one reason or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that still.
So I think that she only knew who Jeanette was is because Joy complained about them all the time because she called them weird.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, so what do we think is good? Do we have any ideas for next week? Everyone see the trailer for next week?
I haven't yet.
I mean, I did, but I don't remember.
I hope we see that confrontation between Jeanette and Kate next week.
I do too. I want an answer to that.
Mm-hmm. And I think that those two, I think all of this is going as badly as it is because those two are not speaking to each other for, I mean, obviously there's real reasons why they haven't, but I think that they need to. I think they just need to start screaming at each other.
Yeah. I think they can get all this cleared up. If they
I think maybe through that, they're going to find, of course, I'm the only one who's going to think this because you guys don't agree with me, but I think through that, they're going to find out what exactly Mallory's role is through this. I think together, Jeanette and Kate might find out Mallory's role is bigger than they think.
I agree with you with the Mallory thing. I think Mallory really could be Annabelle. I think it's either Annabelle or it's a Kate split personality. I'm teetering on both of those. I don't know. But those are my two main theories right now.
And the other preview for next week is Joy going up to Martin and saying, I think Kate might be missing. I think it might be time to call the cops. Is that how she says it? So
I think so. Yeah.
I think next week we see the conversation between between Joy and Martin too.
And we also in that preview learned how Jeanette was the first to find out that she was missing. Did you see that?
No, I just heard her say that to Jamie, but I don't remember how.
I think she overheard Joy talking to Martin.
Was it outside school when she said it to Jamie?
I think so. And so she went outside and she told Jamie that, which explains how she knew before anybody else.
Yeah.
I thought that had come from Joy somehow, but I thought it might have been ribbing at Cindy, and she said, "My daughter's missing," is what I thought it might have been to Joy.
Yeah, we were close.
So I mean, I was kind of right.
Yeah, it was close.
I'm gonna count that as a win.
Sure.
Although it hasn't happened yet, we don't even know if that's really what happened. But that's
okay.
What
it looked like. That's what it looked like. So, which makes sense. I mean, we that would make sense how she knew before anybody else.
Yeah. Because I really think Jeanette is innocent. I think what she's lying about is breaking into Martin's house. And I think she cannot come clean about that because it's going to give people the wrong idea.
Yes.
And I think she's smart enough to understand that if I tell people I'm breaking into Martin's house and Kate's saying that she saw me in Martin's house, then there's not going to be a chance that they're going to believe I wasn't involved.
And if both of these girls would have just been honest about the things that they had done wrong, then none of this would be going on.
Yes. Okay, do we have anything we want to say about episode, what was it, 7?
I think we said it all.
Yeah.
I think we said it all.
Wow. In the shortest Cruel Summer podcast there ever was. I think after editing, the podcast will only be about an hour long. So you're welcome, Internet, that we gave you a short podcast, but also we're sorry we gave you a short podcast.
I think it was full of good information, though.
It was. Because we are, as we've proven, we are insanely smart about the show, and we are inside Jessica Biel's head. And I mean, pretty much you don't have to watch the show. You can just listen to us talk and we've got it all for you.
Exactly.
Jessica Biel, hit us up.
We just got to the point tonight.
Yeah.
We got to the point. We explained the points and we're out.
Yeah. Efficient is what it was.
That is us. All right, guys. Thank you for taking your time and watching Fandom Family Chats with us about Cruel Summer tonight. And next week, watch us all change our minds 100% to new theories. And
absolutely.
Tune in for that. We'll see you guys in a week. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.